It's the off season. Official. I think, you give like one day is not really the off season. Second day is the off season. So Garrett and I today, because Steven Simcox isn't here to do the wheel, which we're all disappointed about. I mean, when I told Andrew about it, I thought he was going to leave today.
I know.
I thought he was just going to straight up leave. But then there's a Cowboys thing I'm going to get off my chest at the end of the show about Brian Schottenheimer, because they're having a second interview with him, and I feel like it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just need to get it off my chest. I'll talk about that a little bit. But Garrett, the first thing is I told you this when I got in today. For Christmas, my wife, who is amazing. Mm-hmm. I have an amazing, wonderful wife who loves sports. I wish she would like one science fiction or superhero thing that we could watch together. And if I'm watching it in the living room, she wouldn't come in and say, like, how much longer is this? Like I've said before, I tell her this. I've told this joke on the show many times because it's true. If she was a superhero, her superpower would be innately knowing when the most important part of whether it's the punchline of a joke in a stand-up special I'm watching, whether it's the punchline of a joke on a sitcom I'm watching or a movie, the big reveal over who's the real bad guy or all that stuff. She even does it in shows that we're watching together, when the real killer is about to be exposed. She'll ask a question about the show, and I'm like,
it's about to play out here.
Literally, they were just about to say something. And then, or we'll be watching a show, and 30 minutes will go by, and she'll be like, hey, wait a minute. Why is he there again? And I'm like, what? Where were you 30 minutes ago?
She was not paying attention.
Yeah.
She was just there hanging out with you.
That's her innate ability to do that. And, but she got me a PS5 for Christmas because quite literally, I feel like one of the only college football personalities out there that was not playing this game.
Correct.
I mean, of a certain, of my age bracket.
Right.
Of the Max, Max Olson's, there's some that are younger, some that are older, some the same age, but we're all about around the same, right? Mm-hmm. The Max, hell, Max and all these guys and Matt Brown got to go to EA. No one invited me. The last time they had a game, they was right here with RG3.
Yup.
I think part of that was vendetta because I mean, it wasn't my fault. I had some information. Nobody told me that it was embargoed, and then I broke the story, and then they told me it was embargoed because instead of sending out the press release saying this is embargoed information, all it said is, I can't tell you why.
Right. So now you're banned.
That means you can't tell me why. Mm-hmm. I know why. So yeah, Soki and I went over, and Robert was on the cover. The Baylor sports information director at the time. And look, I would tell him this to his fan, no problem. But he wound up because of the wording. When we sent the email and said, this does not say the word embargo. This just says, I can't tell you why.
Right.
Well, he can't. But I can.
Yep.
No one's told me that I can't. So I broke a story because I had a source. And because of that, I was able to look, they changed everything that this time around, they totally did it differently. You're welcome, EA. Mm-hmm. I'm the what's his name? William Abagnale. Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Of that, yeah. What's his name? What was his name?
I love that movie. I can't remember his name, though. It's been a minute since I've seen it.
Abagnale was his last name. Yeah. I've read a couple of his books. They're fascinating. Frank William Abagnale. That was his name. Frank Abagnale. Yeah, Frank Abagnale. That's who I was. I exposed the weaknesses in your system. And then, they'd send out some Madden stuff to us, and they'd be like, hey, tomorrow morning, so-and-so is going to be on Dan Patrick, and that's the cover release. Here's the press release
Right,
for when that happens, if you want to put it out on your site. But it said embargoed. So that way you would know, but you can't just have somebody say, I can't tell you why.
Correct. Yeah.
Because that could mean two things. That means he either can't, he's not allowed to, or he has no idea.
Yep.
Like, I can't tell you why. I mean, how many times does somebody goes, hey, what's going on there? Like, I couldn't even tell you. I can't tell you. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I don't know. Like, I can't. I'm not like, I would be allowed if I knew.
Right.
So anyway, but I didn't get to go to any of that. So she got me a PS5. I've got also the best time to get games is right after Christmas.
All the sales and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've got I probably spent $75 and got 10 games.
Oh, nice.
That were all cool games, just because they're older versions or they're a couple years old, but I haven't played them. I haven't a PS5.
Exactly.
So I'm all about it.
You spent hours selecting your patio sofa.
Choosing that grill would have taken weeks.
Probably your car needed way more time. For sure, you would have spent months mulling over that pool of yours.
Protecting your prized possessions needs no time, though.
Just visit coversandall.com, create a custom size per your requirements, pick a fabric and personalize your cover. And leave the rest to us. Premium protection for all that you love.
And she's gone. She left this morning to go on her yearly cruise with her parents, of which one year I'm going to go. I would like to. It's just that they seem to do this every year right now, which is she's going to come back next week. She's going to be home for 2 days. Her brother's coming. We're going to the Kansas game. And then Sunday morning, I wake up, and you and I and Emery go to Dallas to go to New Orleans. And then Rami and his fiance will go to Austin and fly back to Nashville. So not the best week for me to just, I'm gone. It's just too much of being gone for me.
Right.
I say that. It's not really. I could easily do it. But, for me to wrap my head around right now, it just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
So I've taken some of this free time to dive into EA College Football 25, and I realize that I'm behind, but I'm well behind the curve. But this is what happens when you're in your 40s and you don't want to buy something for yourself.
Correct.
And you're not sure you even have the permission to get it. See, if she gets it for you, she's encouraging me to play it
then it's all
because
fair.
she doesn't want to waste her money.
Exactly.
So right now, I'm making her gift worth it. I'm in a great spot right now. Will this last forever?
Probably not.
No, absolutely not. But I've been through a season on the Dynasty now. Took me a couple weeks, obviously, because I'm not Andrew's age.
Yeah.
You
got stuff to do.
Andrew, honestly, Andrew, I would say, I'm just guessing this, but I do know this about him. He's a big video game guy. I'm guessing that there are games that he's gotten in the last 3 years of his life that he's finished in less than a week.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Most of that demographic. Definitely.
Yeah. That's never happened to me in my life. Do you remember how hard Mario Brothers was to get through the first time we had Mario Brothers?
Yeah, you would, and you couldn't turn it off because if
you had to
then it would go back to where. Yes.
Yeah, so there was no save. You couldn't save through games. So if you wanted to it was probably a year after Mario, after I played Mario Brothers that and I didn't have a Nintendo, that I was at somebody's house long enough. I'd gotten enough practice at it where I beat the game. Because then the thing is, you die 3 times.
Right.
You go back to the beginning.
Yup.
So kids don't know how
struggle.
hard video games used to be. I know now there's some hard games, but if you just respawn every time. By the way, this segment brought to you by Respawn, one of our they got great video game chairs and video game equipment. But yeah, you just boom, and you're right back to where you were. That's a nice innovation.
Yeah.
And so, which I think they did steal from the dynasty modes and the season modes from the sports games, because that's where you can kind of save your progress, right? So I went through, and my initial plan was to do a season with Florida State. because they were ranked, like to see how they're ranked in the game.
Right.
Well, okay, Utah was the national champion. Cam Rising, like this is all mostly simulated.
Yeah.
I played enough games to where I won a bowl game, so I didn't get fired.
Right. That's fair.
I did fire my offensive coordinator, though, because he was hot garbage. We brought in somebody else, which is what happened to Florida State this year anyway.
Needed to happen.
Yeah. I did not fire the defensive coordinator because he actually did a pretty good job. Outside of a tragic Clemson game, but I'll give him a mulligan. If it happens again this year, we're done. But lost close games to Miami. I got screwed against North Carolina. Wound up 7-6 Holiday Bowl champions. But outside of the two games, the only games I really played were like the rivalry games, and then at the end because I wanted to get to a bowl game.
Right.
So like after that, I mean, I was 3-4 and staring up at the ceiling, and my season played out about how Florida State's would have without intervention. So even though like the roster was set, like there's all these things, even the EA Sports automated computer thought, I think this team's overrated.
An average team.
I think this is an average, like a below average team. And I had to work a little magic, make some lineup changes, and I had to play because what my goal was, because I don't there are names on that roster that if I never hear again, it'll be too soon.
Right. I think we all have a few of those for our favorite teams.
Yeah, I'm just like, look, this is a 2-10 season. It's probably nothing against them personally, but if I never hear the name Uiagalelei again, I mean, again, I know he's a good guy. I have nothing against him, but he is the symbol of, and it's not even just all his fault. Like all those offensive linemen, don't go,
yeah,
go, just. Move on. All that. I want it wiped away. So that's why I was mostly just simming through it, right? Mm-hmm. And it shocked me that how the computer was like, well, I mean, we're going to give you an 87 overall ranking, but you're really more like a 77.
So since the last time you played, what was your biggest takeaway? Do you like?
Oh, I love it. Here's the thing. I have heard our young producers, Emery and Jack and others, complain about some of the functions.
Yeah, and I don't get
but I have really not played any since the last one went away. I've been kind of out of the game.
Right.
So for a decade, I'm out of the game.
I probably
because that was my favorite one, right?
I probably bought 2 Madden games since the college football went away, and I haven't played them very often. But
yeah, I mean, I'm just more of a college football guy.
Yeah,
I still like Madden, but I've heard Madden is not really what it used to be. So, it's not but I'm not again. I'm gonna be 45 in a couple months, man.
It's different.
So to me, coming from the world of the original Nintendo, the original Sega Genesis. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's almost too hard.
Yeah, that's my thing. So I've only got to play this new game a couple of times. I thought Jack was going to keep it in here, but he's selfish and didn't. So I haven't been able to play it like I wanted to. But that was the first thing I noticed was the defensive play. I couldn't keep up with if somebody had an alpha receiver. So I think the first game I played was LSU and USC. And Zachariah Branch absolutely torched me, which makes sense because LSU's secondary was ass and Zachariah Branch was phenomenal. And that kind of happened in real life. But I struggled with that. And then I figured out, I was trying to think, well, is this just me? Do I suck? And then I started looking a little deeper. And apparently you could go in and change the game sliders to where corners match receiver speed. And it makes it a little more easier to navigate, but no, just the gameplay itself is significantly harder than it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am really, really excited to have it. Right?
Have you only played with Florida State?
I played. Who did I play with? Oh, my friend Kevin. He came up to help me mount it to the wall, and so. He and I played a couple games where we were Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Right. Okay.
And I was Ohio State, and I
how did y'all choose who got that?
He did. I said, you tell me. You tell me who you want.
Right.
He's like, let's do Ohio State and Notre Dame. I'm like, okay, that's great. who do you want to be? And he said, I'm going to be Notre Dame. I was like, okay. Your funeral, buddy. And he was like, he went and bought one right after because this was the game he wanted to play. Because when I called him, I said, hey, Kevin, I need your help. I got this PS5. I ordered these mounts and like I can't do this alone and I'm not really that handy and I need your help. It took him like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
With like, here's what I did. I just like held it. You know,
I would have ended up breaking something.
Yeah, exactly.
And
my wife won't let me drill holes in the wall because I'm not good at these things. So it's fine. Like we worked it all out. So he was excited because he's like, oh yeah, I really want to play this game. And then he starts playing. He's like, you are at a severe, or I'm at a severe disadvantage to you. I'm like, why? I haven't played this game ever. He's like, yeah, but you know everything about all the players on both these teams. Mm-hmm. So, when I'm looking at the field and I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I bet you he's going to throw the ball to Greathouse.
Yep.
So I would highlight my DB because I'm like, well, that's good. Oh, he's going to run with Riley Leonard because it's 2nd and 2 and all that stuff. So I just like hell bent for leather trying to stop the quarterback. And he's like, how do you know what's coming? I'm like, I just know who the players are.
You know what you're going to do.
So I know what you're going to I know what you're going to try to do because these are the situations. And you see on the screen who the highest rated guys are. So if I'm the first time I'm playing, I'm not going to go deep into the roster.
No.
You're going to be like, all right, so yeah. Jeremiah Smith was involved in my game plan. Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, involved. Yeah, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuiololau, okay. It's not, so yeah, it's really fun. I had a blast with it. I recommend anybody who hasn't gotten it, get it. I am already planning for 2026's version.
Okay.
So that I am ready to go. I'm going to need some time to train up to beat the younger people, but I have an advantage on them in that I was alive when this game first came out.
Right.
And they were not. Or if they were really young. So I've played this across a couple of different PlayStation models.
Did you play Game Breaker? Like back in the day, I think it had Eric Crouch on it. And, yeah.
Look, I played Tecmo Bowl.
No, I know that, but yeah,
let's.
Did you have a favorite? Did you have a favorite video football game? Regardless, I know mine was always Madden '94. I loved that.
Yeah,
with the Eagles.
The heyday of Madden. Madden's gotten worse since he's not been on it.
Oh, absolutely has.
Part of the reason for that was he actually consulted on the game. He had enough pride in his own name not to be like, well, send me the check, fellas.
Yeah.
One of my favorite interviews I've ever done when I was co-hosting with John Morris years ago. He got Pat Summerall on the show.
Oh, nice.
And believe me, when you call Pat Summerall on the phone and you're like, hello, you're like, hi, Mr. Summerall. It's like, oh, great to be with you. And you're like, oh, my God. Yeah. I'm going to pass out. This is so exciting. And I said, for years, you and John had to do the voiceover for Madden. And he's the one who said, I had seen a documentary about it with Madden in it. But he said, the documentary, he goes, John didn't do anything for show. Everything he did, he believed in. And he believed in his name so much. So the first time around he consulted on the game, they showed in the prototype version, he was really mad about no. So one of the things he got mad about was hey, nobody punts. He's like, it's stupid. He's like, so you need to create incentive, make the player better, give them a rating so that when they make smart decisions like punt or kick a field goal on 4th and 7, make smart decisions, and now they have that thing, they have the coaching meter where you get points for doing things, right? And it helps you, that also leads to you, trying to buy tokens for the, for the game. But anyway, which means you didn't earn anything. You're not really better. You're just buying the tokens, and giving them money. But he said that the hardest work he ever had to do was go through every roster and every name and just even random names that they would put in there just in case. because you would have times where, like, especially when they started the thing where you could do a draft. So they would, like, read all the college names that would be in the draft the next year and all that. He's like, it's the hardest work I've ever done in my life. He said, it's absolutely insane. He's like, because they'll be like, okay, say Rich Gannon 17 different times.
What?
You know, like, just like, because you go, oh, Gannon got sacked. Oh, that's tough. Like, you have to say it normal.
Different. Different.
You know, or like, so he said it's like a whole week. You go into the booth. And then, like, the last day, he said, was the worst because they're like, yeah, you didn't say these 50 names right. So we got to go back through, you know. And because, like, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And then they'll check it. And then he said it was a little harder for him than Madden because he's got to do the play-by-play. And John Madden just has to beat John Madden.
Yeah.
He's just got to be like, and boom! This guy, you know. So he's like, yeah, I've got to actually, like, do the job over and over again pretending to do it,
right?
As where he's just got to be like, boom.
So on the Emery said his favorite game was NFL Street on GameCube.
Ooh.
I loved NFL Street. I didn't ever have a GameCube. Though.
That
came out
one.
like after my. That wasn't. I got past that. You know what I'm saying? Like the GameCube came out after I was a little too old for it.
Yeah,
but
I remember that one. I like that one. NFL Blitz was really fun.
Yeah, NFL Blitz was
awesome.
awesome.
When I was a freshman in college, we played the hell out of NFL Blitz.
Yeah.
So, anyway,